All right. Well, good morning. Good morning. We're on Tacobout Live with Frank and Manny here in good old Del Rio, Texas, and we want to welcome you this morning. So, how y'all doing this morning, Frank?
Great, doing good. Hey, everybody.
All right. We got a special guest in the house in the studio this morning, Miss Julie Clark. How are you?
Hi.
All right. So we're wearing the nice Keep Texas Red shirt.
Oh,
Yeah. No. Frank's wearing taco shirt. He's wearing yeah. So
I'm wearing taco on my shirt.
it wasn't a taco shirt earlier until just about a little bit ago. But folks, I want to thank you so much for joining us here this morning. We got a lot to talk about. You know, of course, this past week was Thanksgiving. I'm still full. You know, from it, I think I gained a few pounds and whatnot. And then the cameras don't add, don't help at that much either. And then it's also Hanukkah. Hanukkah started this past Sunday. So I want to say Hanukkah Sameach to my fellow brethren who celebrate Hanukkah. So I want to thank you so much for celebrating the light of the world, Yeshua HaMashiach, our Lord and Savior and Redeemer, who is the light of the world. I mean, this is a time of miracles, as we prayed earlier in regards to miracles. This is the season of miracles, and so it's a time of celebration. But it's also a time, Frank, where we come together not only to celebrate and give thanks to the Lord for what He has done for us and how we have become people, but also a nation, especially the United States of America, right?
Yeah.
And what is happening in our nation at this point in time.
Yeah, it's a great time to remember the blessings. As much as folks will deny it, this nation was set up by God. The hand of providence was upon our founding. It's irrefutable. And so we just thank God for the many blessings He's bestowed on us as a people, as Americans, as Texans. And also through His blessings, we have been a blessing to the world. We have been a light in the darkness. And so, folks, there's a lot of issues to talk about, but being light, being salt, we need to keep that fire lit, that fire of patriotism, that fire of love for our founding principles, our Constitution. So that's a big part of our show. But I do have my condolences to all the turkeys out there, and solemnly gobble gobble. But anyways.
Yeah, and as you can see, like you just joined us, so we have a special guest in our studio this morning, Ms. Julie Clark. She is the vice chair of Medina County Republican Party, right?
Woo! Medina in the house.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming down here.
Thanks for coming down here.
Like we say, the end of the road.
And thanks for coming down and being a part of our program this morning. Of course, Del Rio is experiencing a huge border crisis. People are tending to forget about it, but actually we just had like 250 come across the river the other day, and were staged underneath the POE once again. Yep, mostly Cubanos, right? And so, and sad to say, Julie, that just like everybody else, the majority of these illegal aliens that have come through are going to be released into our communities, unless they have a criminal record. But even then, they're finding loopholes to do that. So how's that affecting you all over there in Medina County?
Well, we get a lot of that foot traffic, as you know, coming right up 90 through our town. I mean, all the ranches have cameras up, and we do catch a lot of illegals on our property. They're looking to steal vehicles so they can get into town, at least get into a larger metropolitan area. And so, it's not a safe place to be sometimes, because you always have to make sure that you're protected, or you're in, a group of people, because we did have some instances. Even going to the grocery store was an issue at one time. They had to put police officers at the front of the grocery store just to protect the people that were going in to shop and then coming out to their cars. And so, if you don't think it affects you, it truly does, because although they're coming here, they're not staying here. They're trying to get into a bigger metropolitan area. So if you're in a big city and you don't, have some concern because you don't think this is affecting you, you're completely wrong, because that's where they're headed. And so we may not have a lot of issues now, but it's coming.
Yeah, last night my son actually, and he's in the gallery here, one of my twin sons, sent me some pictures. He went over to a friend's house. They have small children in the house. And probably not more than 200 feet from their front door on the street out there, there were at least 4 or 5 illegal aliens walking down the street. It's a common thing here. In the past, they normally try to hide. Now they're out there in the open. Real quick, so you say, what town was that in where you were saying that the police had to actually be posted out there?
It's in Hondo.
In Hondo?
Yeah,
at the HEB right there?
At the HEB on 90. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so a lot of our viewing audience here, you've made that drive on Hondo. You know exactly what Julie's talking about. right there at the corner. You got the gas station, the Mexican restaurant across the street, HEB right there. We've stopped there many a time to pick up stuff, and so this is not a way that Americans or Texans should live. We should not live under these conditions. Our federal government's failed us. Governor Abbott is certainly dragging his feet on this, and now is political season. You know, right now as a vice chair, and me as a chair, I'm a chairman in Valverde County. We are taking applications for candidates to get involved in the political process. And folks, that's what it's going to take. It's going to take patriots, American loving conservative warriors like you, and I know you're out there, to get involved, get in the political process. We need you in the arena, as distasteful, as horrid, ugly as it gets. You need to be in the battle. And I'm preaching to the choir here, man, because I'm wrestling with that myself. But Julie, as a vice chair currently running for the chairwoman for Medina County Republican Party, have you announced for that?
I haven't, but I was planning on doing it today.
All right,
so thank you for the lead in.
Yeah.
And I can kind of tell a little bit about my background. So for those that may be on the fence or not know how to step up and volunteer, because I mean, I'm just like your average everyday person. This is not where I thought I would end up today. I've had my kids. I mean, they're grown now. I work 2 jobs. I'm busy. I'm at the retirement age. I thought I would come home and spend, the evening at home and relaxing, and on the weekends. I never thought that I would be stepping up and now working 14 hours a day, trying to find a way to save this country. And as I sat home after the election and watched everything, on TV and through social media, and just like everyone else, I was just like, couldn't believe what was happening, and that the lack of authority that was stepping in to take control of things. And finally, as you know, we realized that nobody's going to step in and save us. We have to save ourselves. And I can't just sit at home and complain about it and wonder, like, who's going to save me? I need to step up and I need to do something about it. And that's when I started to get involved. So, I mean, it hasn't been a long time for me, but being in the Republican Party in Medina was an eye-opener too, because there wasn't really a presence in our county. And I was wondering, where are all my people? Where are all these conservatives and these people that want to save Texas? And so it was a struggle too, and it was a fight to just try to get involved and find someone to return a phone call. And so I decided I was going to do something about that too. And so that's where, I am now as the vice chair. And I'm really acting as the chair for our county, because although our chair has done some really great things, I mean, he's super busy and his job takes him away, to travel. And so in order for us to be able to build our base and to do some positive things and be a presence, so other people who feel like us can get involved and figure out what they can do to help move forward. We've done some amazing things in some short period of time, and we've got some amazing things that we're working towards. So because of that, I am throwing my name in the hat to run for the chair position, to actually have the title. But the interesting thing is I didn't go after this position to be the chair position. I was just looking to do something to make changes in my county. And that's all I care about, really. The title, it's great, because right now we need to have some true conservative leadership with people that you can trust, that has the values of Texas, that, true conservatives that know and want to save Texas. But my whole, I think, drive behind all of this is to make a difference.
Yes.
And to call people out, because just because there's an R behind their name doesn't mean they're an R.
Hear ye, hear ye. I totally agree. Amen, sister, and everything else.
Yes.
And when you said, to try to get in there, make a difference to save Texas, there's a Democrat that's running for governor. I don't like to call him.
Francis.
Yeah, Francis. Robert. O'Rourke. He's running for governor, and I think a lot of people, we talked about this earlier before the program, before you got here, Frank, was that people assume here in Texas that Texas is going to remain red. But the reality, folks, is that he's gaining momentum. I've seen some videos of his rallies that are going on,
Yeah.
and he's gaining momentum here, folks, in this state, which is a sad case. And we talked about Governor Abbott dragging his feet, but the reality too, folks, is that historically speaking, sad to say, a lot of Republicans drag their feet in the primaries.
Yeah.
When it comes time to voting, and they don't get involved. They don't get involved at the lowest level, going and knocking on doors, trying to make a difference. Trying to and just assume, oh, Texas is going to be red. It's been red, folks. It's been red. There are people actively fighting, actively moving over here to Texas to try to make it blue.
Yeah.
And to take away our freedoms. And O'Rourke was speaking the other day, and he's still in favor of removing weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even as governor.
And so, Julie, let me just, I'm sure you've considered the cost. The Word of God says, you look at a field, a man considers the cost. One of the things that I've encountered as a chairman here in Valverde County, and it's not a slam on people, but in a sense, it's like a poke. It is a prod. So many people are upset. So many people are angry. Just like you, and I've heard that several times. A lot of folks, we kind of, have been living life, and then something took place. For me, I retired in 2018. I knew I wanted to get involved in politics. Got involved in the campaign with Raul Reyes for Congress CD23. We try to warn people about the rhino element within the Republican Party, which is just as insidious, probably more dangerous. And I would say that in the sense that socialism, socialists, the liberal, the left, you know what they're up to. Destroy America, to kill children, mutilate children, total government control. It's very blatant. But within the Republican Party, what I saw through the campaign, what I've seen as a Republican chairman, what I've seen as your former state Republican Executive Committee member for SD19 before you guys moved to SD24, was this just lack of fire, lack of fighting spirit within a lot of our fellow Republicans. And it's, of course, it's not a wide brush, but it seems like people are perfectly content to let the 5-10% do all the work. And so what in your mind have you considered that cost, and what would you do as a chairperson for Medina County to fire up your fellow Texas, your fellow Republicans? What would you do?
Well, everything you said is spot on, because I think that's what's made Republicans get to where we're at today, because we've always been the nice guy. We've always not wanted to make waves. We just want to go with the flow, and we think, because we're nice, that good things are going to happen. And obviously that's not been the case, because they've infiltrated into our party, to take spots. And so, when you're in war and you're throwing grenades against your enemy, you're not going to throw up, snap it back and say, stop, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're at the point now that we need grenade throwers in the Republican Party. We can't sit back anymore and watch and wait and hope that good things are going to happen. We need to make those good things happen. And it's by standing up, putting people in place that will stand up and represent your voice, and not getting paid under the table to, vote a certain way, or to, go with a certain vision that's not the best interest for you, your country, or the state of Texas. And that's where we've been. And so when you're looking at different candidates and different people who are throwing their name in the hat, definitely, ask that question. Is this person a grenade thrower for me that's going to protect me, protect my children? And if they're not, you need to move on. Look at what's happened the last month in Virginia and New Jersey. They definitely came out and represented the Republican Party, and they made changes in tough states. And back to what Manny said, this is not a red state anymore. And if you think that, Texas is always going to be red, these next two elections are the most important elections in your entire life. I guarantee it. If you don't show up for the primary or for the November 2nd election, we're gonna lose.
Yeah, and so with, saying that, I mean, obviously, some folks would say, they'd be mortified. Oh my God, look at the way they're talking. Look, we're stakeholders. We have an investment in not just our party, but our state and our nation. And we have children. Many of us have grandchildren, great grandchildren, that are, they just barely, came out of the oven, and so they gotta. We have to fight to preserve their future. We have to fight to preserve the freedoms that we have known. And one of the things that really does frustrate me a lot is, that people are willing to sit on the sidelines, Julie, and they need folks like you, Manny, so many of us who are out there cheerleading, leading, but also like you've done, step into the arena. It gets ugly, it gets nasty. You see the underbelly of the beast. You get a real taste of what politics is about. But we have to be people of principle, and based on God's word. And so more than anything, if you're a Bible believer, if you're, and I'll say it, if you're a Christian and you believe Jesus is the Messiah, you need to jump in the fight because we need you. You have the mind of Christ. You have the Spirit of God. And you are needed in the political arena because think about it. We got, this whole other variant now that's starting to raise its head up.
Just in time for the holidays, right?
Just in time for the holidays, and just in time for primary season. I mean, just look at what they did last time, the way they suffocated people and,
Right.
imprisoned us in our
So
houses.
you're talking about mixing faith and politics there, Frank.
Oh, yeah, man.
I mean, that's, a lot of people tell me
That's taboo
it is
to a
taboo,
lot of people.
bro. It is taboo because I talk to being in the religious community. You would talk to a lot of people and say, well, I don't like to mix faith and politics, folks. We're beyond this, that, and that's just a narrative, folks. When we look at the scriptures, we see that happen throughout the scriptures. We've talked about it numerous times. King David, Daniel, Zechariah, Nehemiah, Ezra, all these. Even Messiah, even Yeshua. Going and addressing the governors and whatnot and the things of the government. But besides that, folks, it's important that especially if you're a person of faith. Look, I understand and I believe that the Messiah is returning. I truly do. Could it be tomorrow? Yes, it could be tomorrow. Praise the Lord. And if it would, I always pray that the Messiah would return on a Monday, though. That's just me. I don't like Mondays. Lord, please come on a Monday.
Yeah.
And then, that way, no more Mondays,
Yeah.
But the reality is that we have a lot of people, and we've talked about it before, that a lot of people, in the faith community are depending on the return of the Messiah, which is good, and anticipating the return of the Messiah, but are not fighting for future generations because we don't know. Messiah himself said, no man knows the hour or the day when he is coming, when he is returning. So, folks, until that time, it's important. The Bible speaks about self-preservation. It speaks about defending the helpless, to be a voice for those who have no voice.
Yeah.
Like the unborn. You talked about Democrats killing children, and that in regards to that, that's abortion. And abortion is murder. And the reality, folks, is that we got people that are willing to abort children right before birth, and believe it or not, Frank, in the UK, and Juliana, if you ever read these articles, but there are people actually fighting for even after a child is born. That if they're not viable, and so can that spread ideology spread over here? It is spreading over here.
It is. It's already here. Julie. So Medina County, it's a big county, and as you look at this strategically from a political point, Medina County within Congressional District 23 is very important. For a long, long time, that county has been a counterbalance to Bexar County. Bexar County is very liberal. A lot of it's very liberal, and a lot of the Republicans within the Bexar County party are a bunch of rhinos. They're just progressive moderates over there, and that's the truth. That it is what it is. That's known. They like to be the kingmaker, and so now that there's been some redistricting with Senate District 24, where Medina was taken out of SD 19, and now it's over there. Bexar County got some some more people added up on the northwest side.
It's kind of an interesting move there.
Yeah. It's gerrymandering, and the sad thing about it is Republicans control the state legislature. So this has been done under the state legislature. So Medina is a strong conservative base. But right next door is Atascosa County. They're also very conservative, but we've seen some shenanigans with redistricting. Senate District 24 now reaches a little ponytail, reaches into Atascosa County, where to make room for a guy by the name of Pete Flores, who was our former senator in SD 19. Now he's running in SD 24. He's Abbott's favorite boy there, and so Medina County is really in a linchpin to a lot of this. What are some specific ideas you have, to make your county stronger? What kind of what do you envision as the chairwoman? What would you do right off the bat? Maybe a couple of things you would do immediately.
Well, we've already put a lot of things in place. So a couple of things that we're doing is we're trying to actually put a face and have a presence in our county, which we didn't have before. And we're starting to do some meet and greets, which are about once a week. We try to do them once a week, but depending on what's going on, sometimes we miss a week or two. And we do it all different areas of the county, so we want to make sure we can reach as many people as possible. And so if you're in our area, we'd love for you to come out to our meet and greets. Not only can you meet the Republican Party, you can find out about maybe how you can fit in if you want to volunteer. We definitely need volunteers. We need people to step up and help us. We've put together some committees, which I'll go over here probably in just a little bit to talk about where we need some support in our committees that we're putting into. And some of the candidates are starting to show up at these meet and greets. So if you're trying to find out about a certain candidate, please come to our meet and greet and get some one-on-one time with them and ask them some of the questions. One of the things that we also did, which is new, which I don't even think Medina County has ever had, we now have a headquarters. Medina County Republican headquarters, downtown Hondo.
Wow.
We're across from the movie theater, so if you're familiar with the area, we are still doing a little bit of structuring inside to it, but we will have a lot of candidate information in there. We'll have the county map up there, and so we'll talk about, the redistricting and, where you can look at candidates and who's all running. You can ask us questions about the candidates, and we're going to start having some forum, and we're going to invite all the candidates to come and debate each other and talk about why they're the best candidate.
Well, that's pretty awesome, because I think one of the things that are lacking so much so, especially here in the border area, and I'm pretty sure it's over there in Medina County as well, is the lack of research that a lot of people do in regards to these candidates, and then we get stuck with people like Tony Gonzalez, because people don't research, who these candidates are, and like you said earlier, it's simply because they have an R in front of their name for Republican. In some cases, it's Rhino. Rhino and Republican start with the same letter, But the reality is that we get stuck with certain people because they don't research.
Yeah, and a lot of, I'm sure folks kind of notice a certain look on my face here as you were talking about what you're doing. I was a little bit jealous. Because, I started off on fire here in Valverde County, and I really, I brought in a lot of people and wanted to show folks, hey, look, it's exciting. There's a lot of, engagement that needs to be done, and come be a part of our party here, of our efforts. And honestly, my family, my friends know this. I have been very disappointed with the lack of involvement in my county. And I'll just say it, I have been, as much ranting, raging, anger, frustration, fear at what this current administration is doing. Now is the time for people to get involved. We have, for instance, in our county, 13 positions up for a re-election.
Wow.
13 at the county level. Just pure county. 11 of those 13 positions are held by Republicans. That means the other 11 are held by Democrat incumbents. And to date, I have only had one person challenging one of those incumbents. Now the JP Republican incumbent is going to stay in office. I haven't heard from the judge, but he files at the state level, so I'm sure he's going to want to keep his office. Those are the only two Republicans. So I have one young lady that stepped in to challenge our current district clerk. So that's one Republican, yay. But I'm just like, we're close to 50,000 people. Here is a chance to put our feet to action.
Right.
And move. And we need we need people to file for those positions. For commissioners court, they just the commissioners, the county judge, they have a lot of power. They can affect our lives here. And so
good and bad.
What's that? For good and bad.
Yeah,
For good and
good
bad.
and
I mean,
bad.
yeah, the things we're suffering is a result of policy. You know, the policy decisions, the decisions these, you know, these elected officials are making. So, you know, and you're going to get a little bit of that here. You're going to get a little bit of our soapbox, you know, a little bit. But here's a question for you. You know, as you're looking at your county and the makeup of your county, you're getting to meet people, you're getting to know people. And the reason you're running, I would think it's because you're going to have a challenger, an opponent.
I am,
Okay.
yes, I am, and I'll kind of talk a little bit about that too. But back to your question, real
Yeah.
fast, what you were just saying, because you know we do need people to step up, and
Yeah.
you know I know we're all busy, and I
Yeah.
think the Republican Party is based off the average hardworking person, and so you know we go to work or we work 2 jobs, and we come
Yeah.
home and we're tired, and you know, but where we're at in this place and time, if we don't step up, we're not going to have a free country anymore. So
Yeah.
it's we're at the life and death kind of situation. I mean, I work 2 jobs, and now you know I volunteer, and being in the Republican Party is a full-time job. It is where I'm at right now, trying to get everything structured and get the events and stuff like that. Now a lot of other positions, if you step up, are not going to be a full-time position. I mean,
Yeah.
they are flexible. You can do an hour one week, you can, you know, do a couple of hours. I mean, we'd love as much impact as we can. If you
Yeah.
step up, that's, you know, what we need. But I know people are busy, life happens and all of that. But back to a lot of changes that I've made. You know, there's some elite Republicans that don't want change,
Yeah.
and they don't want the voice of the GOP in our county, and it's sad and it's scary. And you know, a part of, you know, another reason why people don't want to step up, because it's hard.
Yeah.
You get attacked.
Yeah.
You know, people, you get a lot of pushback. It's a constant uphill battle every day.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm not quitting,
Yeah.
and I'm not walking away, because I have so much passion about trying to save our country
Yeah.
and our state. But I think it starts in our own front yard. If we can't start in our own yard and save our own county and our own, you know, we're not going to save Texas.
Yeah.
You have to be active in that. And so because of that, and because of a lot of the changes that I've made and I will be making, they've decided to put someone against me. And so I am not running unopposed, which I originally was. But just if anyone's in my county that knows, I'm not going to say his name, but we'll just call him Mr. New York, because
New York
yeah,
City.
he's from New York.
So
Really?
you're saying that the Republican Party there brought somebody in?
Well,
He's been living there.
Oh, he's been
He's
living
a
there?
transplant, but only
From
for
New-
a couple of years.
From New York City.
From New
Yeah.
York City.
Yeah. So look, and of course, we're not gonna slam. You know, in a sense, you know, hey, if you want to come to Texas, you have good intentions. Great, praise God, we need you here. But like Manny said at the beginning of the show, there's folks that are specifically coming here, you know, for the economic opportunity. There's a lot of economic opportunity here, but they're also not going to give up on their liberal ideology. You know, and so.
But let me tell you this too. So when you talk about that, yeah, that's great if you want to move to Texas and help make Texas a better place. But don't New York my Texas, and don't California my.
Yeah.
And if you truly want a better Texas and you move here, and you are a Republican, then get involved.
Yes.
Because my opponent has never been to a GOP meeting in the state of Texas. He's not involved. He's not a precinct chair. He doesn't know who the precinct chairs are.
Yeah.
So doesn't that raise a lot of questions on
It does
his
raise a lot of
motives?
questions.
And right there, folks, right there, very, you know, simply put, you know, very plainly put, you know, is the way that the establishment operates here in Texas. You find a warrior, someone that's going to go and really affect positive change for the people, for their community, based on principles, ideals, based on their faith. And what does the establishment do? What does the status quo do? The people who love to play political parlor games and make deals in backrooms, what do? They put somebody in place that's going to align with what they say. And I just put it simply, you know, that's what they do. So when you get, you know, a rabble rouser, when you get a rowdy Texan, when you get a rowdy patriot,
A grenade thrower.
a grenade bomb thrower, bombastic, and I heard it all myself. When you get those types of people that are willing to step up into leadership positions, what do they immediately do? They float their candidate. They find somebody and they put him in the race, and then what they do is they line up money behind them as well. You know, so certainly for elected officials, say at the representative, senator, congressional level, you know, and even other offices, you would see money, as an influx, and so I'd be interested to see, in a pivotal county like Medina County, which in SD 24 it's one of the smaller counties, whereas in SD 19 it was one of the it was a key county for us, and it still is in Congressional District 23. There's something to be said when you've got a firebrand such as yourself willing to take up the reins and be a leader at the forefront. There's something to be said, and people need to take heed, study this, and learn from it, that the establishment will float somebody. And so it usually comes down to that. It comes down to a very conservative, patriotic, a vocal person, and someone that's just gonna, we just need to play the game, we got to be diplomatic, and so a lot of those code words.
But that's been hurting us, the Republican Party.
Killing us.
It's killing us.
It's killing us.
It is.
Because a lot of times too is many in the Republican Party think that that the Democrats are going to work with them across the aisle, which is just not true. I think that's one of the reasons why I think Governor Abbott keeps hoping for that or something. I don't know what he keeps hoping for in reality. But folks, it's important that you get involved, and it's going to be grassroots candidates, I believe, that are going to make the difference, because the establishment, like you all were saying, are just going to continue to push their people forward.
Yeah.
And let me tell you too, back to what you were saying is so my opponent I do know, not well, but I do know him, and we had sat down prior to him, throwing his name in the hat,
Yeah.
and he said to me, Julie, stop making waves. Just go with the flow, and you can be chair for as long as you want. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Did you just say that to me?
Yeah.
And I said, first off, not only no, but hell no. Because that's not why I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm not here truly to try to get the chair position. That's just where I've ended up. I'm here to make a difference. I'm here to make a change on people that we need to remove that don't represent us.
Amen, sister.
Yeah, and you know what? I have a backbone. I'm going to stand up and I'm going to call people out. And if you're conservative and you vote with Democrats, I'm going to call you out because you don't represent my voice.
So man, that's so inspiring. I get fired up, man. As you're talking here, Julie, look, this is the image I get when they say don't make waves. Don't make waves. Okay, just imagine this, folks. A river. At the end of the river, a waterfall. Our boat is headed over that waterfall. You better make some damn waves as you're paddling furiously away from the waterfall. And look, folks, that's where we're headed. And so the other thing here is, look, here's a woman, a woman of family, a businesswoman as well, who is making time out of her life, out of the busyness of her life, to get involved in the political arena specifically, because that's where we need agents of change. We need change makers to get involved, and it doesn't have to be at the state, federal level, folks. We need it at every level.
Yes,
we do. Right now, it's filing season for state and county positions. February will open the window for school boards, school districts, city councils, hospital, water board, etc. So right now we're looking for county level people, but we're always looking for precinct chairs, for volunteers to head committees within the Republican Party, especially as we're going into primary season. So let me ask you this, Julie. So what's going to happen? I know what's going to happen. These incumbents, politicians who have not done really anything, tangible per se, are going to come around. They're going to come around trying to recruit block walkers, trying to recruit people to go put up their signs. They're going to come around looking for volunteers. This is my sentiment. Look at the candidate, study the candidate. And when you said earlier, go to these meetings and ask questions, write down those questions and be unafraid. Ask them the hardest question you can think of. Are you for term limits? Do I get you on record on term limits? What is your true stance on abortion? What is your true stance on government encroachment, CRT? All the issues that are affecting us as Texans. And right now, I see this, Julie. I see the fire. I see you're willing to fight the fight. If you're in Medina County, if you're watching this, you need to get behind this woman. You need to go out there and support her.
I need your vote.
Yeah.
Vote for me.
Yeah. So
and I need donations because keep in mind too, just like Frank said, is that a lot of us grassroots, we don't have the money. We don't have a lot of things, and so don't think because you see a lot of signs from a certain candidate and a lot of ads. I would question that nowadays because they have the wrong people behind them and they're trying to buy your vote. And I've always said over the last year that I truly believe money is not going to make a difference in this next election because too many people are awake. They know what's going on. They've done their research. They're up to date on who's who. Yeah. And I think, again, that showed in Virginia and New Jersey.
People
and so
have awakened.
So I don't have the money behind me. I just have the integrity. I have the trust of the people that know me now to know that I'm doing the right thing for our county. And I'm willing to fight for you and to be your voice. And I think that's what everybody needs to be if you're in an elected position. That's what you're elected to do.
Yeah, and so, and you said a lot of key things there. There's always folks that are calling and asking, hey, get involved. And I know Manny's been contacted about getting involved. And you got to consider the costs. I mean, it does take money. I mean, even for a county, and that's kind of where I was trying to get to earlier. You brought it home for me. Is that, it's interesting to see the money that's getting dumped into the high-profile races. But even at the county level for a chairman position, you know how hungry interested parties are by the amount of money. And so if you're a real threat, and I believe you are, to the establishment, what I would probably see is an influx of money into your opponent's piggy bank is what I would think would happen. And so, folks, we are the grass troops. We are the grass troops. Get away from the word grassroots and start thinking warrior-like.
I like
because
that.
America needs warriors. America needs fighters. You got a fighter right here, folks. You can see it in her eyes. You can hear it in her voice. You can definitely see that in her words. But above all that, my spirit does mesh up with this, Julie. And so I'm glad that we've got a warrior that stepped up from the ranks. But there's a lot more. There's a lot more warriors out there that need to get involved and they need to donate. And I'm gonna ask on behalf of Julie here. Where can people contact you, or you have a Facebook?
I do. Well, it'll be up in probably the next day, but we already have our site, so I'll give you that, and I'll attach it to your link to this broadcast. But it's going to be Julie Clark, the number 4 GOP chair.
Okay.
And that's going to be our Facebook, our Instagram, and our website as well. So you can reach us all of those areas. And then my email is julieclark, number 4, GOPchair@gmail.com. And yes, I appreciate any amount that can be donated to help.
I'm sorry, what was the website again, Julie?
It's Julie Clark for GOP chair.
That's the website.
Yes.
.com?
Yes.
Yeah, and so I wanted to throw that out real quick, folks.
It's not up now.
Oh, it's not up.
It will be up in the next day.
Okay.
Yes, and there'll be a donate button on our page that you can donate. Any amount, $5. I mean, everything.
And then and sorry for interrupting, but we've told people in regards to that. Folks, even if you want to get involved at that level, just donate to a candidate, a strong candidate, a good candidate. Do your research on every candidate, But if you can't go out there knocking on doors, You can't make phone calls. You can't send letters. At least click on the donate button. Because that actually helps people get on your team as well, right? To go out there and
Right.
do those things.
Yep.
To get signs out, to get awareness out. And folks, and if you're looking at these candidates as well, and you recognize the name that's been in office or in a certain position for so many years. You might want to go and continue to research that candidate because there's a reason why they've been there's actually two reasons.
Yeah.
One, they've really done a good job, or two, they haven't done a good job, but people just throw money behind them because they just don't want to make any waves and they just go with the flow.
Yeah, and they're their puppets, basically.
puppets.
They're somebody's pulling their string.
Can I ask you guys a question? I have this question I've had for a very long time about that same topic that you guys brought. So, and I've graduated high school. I've had your basic math, but I can't kind of figure out this math. And I think I'm pretty good at math. So
We work for the government, Julie, so I don't know.
you guys have government math?
This
Okay.
is 2050.
Okay. Okay.
Especially for hammers. and police.
Okay. So you're an elected official and you make $165,000 a year. Okay. And so now you've been in that position for 5 or 10 years. So how are you worth $10 million?
That's pretty. That is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And I think it has nothing to do with math. I think it has everything to do with it's magical. No, I'm just
It's
joking.
magical.
It's actually. I think me and Frank have talked about this before. In regards that there's compromise that is made when people get into that position.
And they've learned to manipulate the system. The PACs that give money. We've seen that. One of my sons was doing some research, and he's like, "Hey, Dad, I've noticed that this PAC will give money to this person's PAC, and then that person's PAC will give to this other PAC, and then it comes back to this PAC, and so there's a lot of money laundering. I call it. It's just laundering of the money.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And eventually, they've learned to manipulate the system somehow or another. Either it buys favor, influence, and position, or they've learned a way to siphon it off, to manipulate it in some way. But certainly, it is interesting how that happens, and but nobody wants to talk about that. And sadly, I mean, it takes money to run for office. It really does, man, because you need to buy signs, you need to buy newspaper
And sometimes
ads,
people,
radio ads.
sometimes people think even Republican voters think that the person with the most money is the better candidate.
Yeah.
But we saw that in regard, during in Trump's presidency. Now there's this difference between Trump Republicans and Republicans.
Yeah.
Trump couldn't be bought off. We saw a lot of GOPers come against him.
Yeah.
Because of these things, because they were so used to just being part of the status quo, making their money, from Big Pharma or whatever. So I use Big Pharma, so our show's probably gonna be blocked here for the rest of the.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but folks, it's not always the person with the biggest purse strings that needs to be put in office.
I'll give you a prime example of that. Who always likes to gloat and harp and crow about his big money bags is Tony Gonzalez.
I was going to say his name doesn't rhyme with Gonzalez.
Yeah, I mean he loves to gloat about that, folks. And Tony's been actually traitorous to America with his actions here in the border.
Yeah.
Outright traitor, Tony Gonzalez, have you been? But anyways, I think that, folks, when you find a candidate such as Julie, you need to donate directly to them, volunteer your time. That's just as valuable. The volunteerism. She's going to need block walkers as well. She's going to need people to post her signs up.
Yes.
And I expect a big fight because, as I said earlier, that's why I was setting it up. Medina is a very important county within CD 23, and no doubt the Bexar County folks are looking at it. See, Bexar County looks at itself as a power broker in South Texas. They see themselves as the power maker, as the power broker, as the king maker, the puppet string puller. They really do, folks. And so for you folks that live within Bexar County, well, we're praying for you. You need to rise up within your county, but you need to be aware. If you live in the outlying regions, but you're affected by politics and economics out of Bexar County, you need to shore up your home turf. You need to build up the defenses in your home turf. And so Julie's doing that exactly in Medina County. We need patriotic, constitutional, Christian conservatives such as her. So if you're watching today, you're listening today, you need to back her up. Put your feet to action. It's time to put, you know, put your money where your mouth is, man. I mean, you know, put it out there. And there's something, you know, it takes organization. It takes, you know, field commanders. You know, hey, this person is going to take this part of the county, go to this town, go distribute the signs, and you know, do the networking. She needs leaders to rise up in Hondo, Medina, Real Medina, right? Divine,
Castroville, Natalia, Cost,
Lacoste. Or what other little towns is
Dehennis.
Dehennis is there?
And a lot of these little towns that you're talking about, they're you know, traditionally been conservative, you know, but still you got Bear County, you know, and
Yes.
Bear County is quickly turning blue.
They're turning blue, and they thank God. I mean, you know, well, I know there's patriots in there as well, but we need to shore up. We need to, like for instance, we've talked about the blue creep, the slow creeping of you know, the Democrat control coming up river. And thank God now there's an insurgency per se down in the Rio Grande Valley.
Yeah.
And it's happening all along the river where people are waking up. They're waking up. They've been slapped out of their wokeness. And so now they're like, hey, man, this is going too far. And so a county like Medina, which is critical to so many races, critical, it hangs in the balance. No doubt, Julie, there's probably external forces from outside your county that are at play in your county that are going to be at play in your race as well. They're going to try.
There are, I know for a fact.
Yeah.
Of that.
And that's the way it operates, folks. They extend their little tentacles out there. And so what's the counter to that? The counter is you, people. It's the audience. It's you that have to get involved. When you find a true champion, my God, I just can't stress it enough, man. You've got to support them. It's biblical, Manny.
Yep.
I mean, it's biblical. Think of Moses.
Yeah.
You know, and as the battle raged, what was going on? His arms were being held up, and while his arms were held up, Israel won the battle. When he started getting
But
tired,
there's people that were helping him.
There's people- that's exactly what-
there's people that were helping him keep his arms lifted.
Exactly.
You know, and folks, and that's where you come in. That's where you and I come in to help people like Julie keep their arms lifted up. You know, for the battle. You know, because it is a battle. You know, they're gonna come. You know, like you were talking about earlier, Frank, about counting the cost. People are going to try to, you know, bring false accusations and assumptions, go after your personal life, you know, things like that. And sad to say, it's going to be people within your own party. That's what's ridiculous about things, you know. But folks, get behind Julie. You know, we talked about earlier, and I'm going to go way back to earlier when you said, you know, a lot of these illegal aliens are going over there in Medina County as well, and over there in Hondo, and that they had to have police and whatnot. Folks, I'm going to tell you, the further these illegal aliens get away from the border, the more brazen they become.
Yeah.
You know, in regards to crime, in regards to illegal activity. And so, folks, we need people like Julie. We need people to get behind her. You know, and you can accept donations from people outside the district.
I
right?
can.
Right?
I will. Yes, I will not turn away a donation.
Right.
So any out of state, I don't
Yeah.
know if you can do that. I don't even know because, like I said, I've never run for office before,
Right.
but I'm assuming you can take out of state.
Yeah, well,
donations.
if you're within the state of Texas, you want to
Yeah.
go to your website when it's up and make
Yeah.
donations to Julie here, do so, because folks, that county, that district is going to can affect the rest of Texas.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like a domino effect. But we need to get true warriors like Julie in office.
Yeah.
And you know, and I know that there's a lot of people in Medina County because last weekend we had our Christmas in God's Country. I don't know if you guys have ever attended that. It's
No,
a great kickoff to the holiday season. So we have vendors, it's all Christmassy, and we do a night parade where, you know, we have floats and we light them up. And this year, again, back to our focus of trying to make a presence in our community and be active and, you know, as many things as possible. We had a float in the parade.
Nice.
And it was so amazing. We had just our flags, we had patriotic music blaring, we were waving our flags, and as we came through the parade, the crowds, I mean, sidewalks were packed. People were cheering and yelling, and they were so excited to see us.
Nice.
And we had a flag right in the middle, a big flag, and it said, "Don't blame me, I voted for Trump." And they were cheering when they saw that flag, and And the funny thing is we actually won an award for our float. We
Wow.
we
Wow,
were
nice.
the award winner for the adult club for the contest that they were having, which I didn't even know. We weren't trying to win anything. We were just trying to really show that Republicans are here in Medina County.
But
Come and join us.
the key to that is
Yeah.
folks, it's good to cheer, it's good to clap your hands, but also come off those sidelines, folks.
Yes.
Come off those sidelines, get behind people, like Julie. Also, I just want to bring this up as well. A lot of times you can talk to your Democratic friends and family as well, and a lot of what we find out here is that a lot of them are actually conservative at heart. But if they look at the platform, go look at the Republican platform, look at the Democratic platform, folks. The Republican platform itself, I believe, is a biblical platform. But some of the candidates that come out of there, they stray away from it.
Oh, yeah.
But the reality is the platform is pretty close to biblical.
Yeah.
In regards to their belief.
It's pretty solid. And so before I forget, we're going to take some blood from you here, Julie, because I'm going to clone you. I need you down here in Valverde County. I need you down here. But anyways, it's great, and you're very blessed, honestly, to be in a red county. But folks, that can be infectious. That attitude, that fervor, that passion, that patriotism. If you feel stirring in your heart, deep down, blow some air on it. Let it flame up. Let it fire up. There's a lot of room for that right now. We need it right now. As Manny was talking about earlier, with Beto, picking up steam here, folks. The other side, they smell blood. They smell blood in the water. They know that Abbott, right now, Governor Abbott, is dissatisfying a lot of the party faithful, and people have been wakened up. They've awakened. They're tired of politics as usual. The time is right for champions, the people's champions, to stand up and get involved. God is with us. God is with us, and believe me, I'm talking to the mirror here. God is with us. If He is for us, who can be against us? And so, Julie, you're an inspiration, I know, to the audience, and we've been looking at the comments here. A lot of folks are enthused about your participation, and folks, as you think about it, other patriots like Julie, take that step forward. Just be bold, be unafraid, and get into the arena. There's a saying, Manny, I know you remember it. There's a saying, and I'm just gonna have to paraphrase it, because there's so many warriors that have come through time, but there's only amongst humanity, amongst mankind, but very few can say, I have been in the arena. Very few walk away with streaks of blood, sweat pouring from them because they got into it and they fought. And right now is the time to get into that arena. You said there's two very important elections coming up, primary and the general in November. So in the primary, folks, this is when we pick our champions to go fight against the Democrats' champion, which is in November. And so, at the state level, at the state rep, at the state senator level, at the on down through the county levels, right now we need to be fielding our stoutest, bravest, most fearless warriors to get into that arena.
Yeah, don't miss the primary, whatever you do. If you've never voted in a primary,
Get registered.
Make this, because even though you're saying, well, they're all Republicans, whatever. The thing is that you're separating the rhinos from your true conservative in that vote. And so if you don't show up and that rhino gets elected, then you vote Republican on election
November.
day, now we really haven't gained anything. So please.
And then that's where people come out and say, well, my vote doesn't count. Well, yeah, there's a reason why it did, because you didn't. You should have gone and voted in the primaries. Folks, it's important to get registered to vote. We're gonna start wrapping up here, folks. We do have a website, tacoboutlive.com. I'm gonna put it up on the screen here as well. You can go over there. You can look at our live stream as well. You can email us at tacoboutlive@gmail.com. We have a store on there as well. You can get one of our nice little fancy Let me put us back on camera here. You get one of our nice little coffee mugs as well on there. Talk about it live. We also have one that changes color now when liberal tears are filled up. And so if you want to get one of those, I may change the title of it. It's a liberal tears coffee mug. But folks, it's important you get behind candidates like Julie here. There's a lot of people out there that are willing to fight. We just got to find them. If you're willing to fight, get off your couch. Get out there and get involved, create some awareness, share our program, share other programs as well that are out there trying to bring awareness to what is happening here in Texas. Because, folks, as Texas goes, the rest of the United States will go as well. We are a battleground state, folks.
And follow Medina County Republican Party, too. And also Julie Clark for GOP chair, once that will be up in the next day.
Yeah.
And folks, I want to thank you so much for joining us here. I get some things set up. But Frank, you got any closing?
Yeah. I mean, and I did have a thought, man, but it just escaped me. But anyways, look.
Are you over 50?
Yeah.
There we go.
I'm over 50, bro. Yeah. So let me. I don't know if I'm gonna remember what I was gonna say, but. Oh yeah. Okay. Now I remember. So look, folks, if you're looking for commitment, I offered Julie a chance. I said, hey, we can Zoom you in. Oh no, I'll go there. So she went all the way, from Medina County to the end of the road down here to be here, to be in our studio. That's a sign of commitment, folks. That's a sign of her willingness. That's a sign of just how much she believes in her cause, the cause, which is the American way, preserving our way of life, and that it's going to start. At the lowest levels, our communities, our counties, you've got to get involved. If you're out there in Medina County, even in the surrounding area, reach out to her, give her help. Be willing to come in and spend some time. With her, she's going to start campaigning. But also, if you're in Medina County, they're fixing to set up a headquarters and stuff, man. I'm sure you'll be looking for some equipment.
We're going to have some merchandise there as well. We're going to have T-shirts and different little Republican
paraphernalia.
things. Yes.
Yeah. So I guess I was speaking specifically about a printer and furniture.
Printer?
Y'all gonna need that kind of stuff, no?
Why? Sure.
Yeah. So out there's some folks. I'm gonna ask her for it because look, folks, I've seen the need of my life. I've been kind of hesitant to ask, but I'll ask on her behalf. Get a hold of her. If they're gonna set up a headquarters in a pivotal county like Medina County, you need to be part of that effort. And so if you've got a spare printer around the house, maybe some furniture, some filing cabinets, that kind of stuff, they're going to need that kind of stuff as well. Some chairs, some meeting tables. If God's stirring your heart, reach out to her, ask what the party out there is going to need. There's many different ways you can contribute and be a part of the fight. Remember, we are the grass troops. And so we've got to be willing to sweat. We've got to be willing to cry and to fight above all else, to shed some blood, to preserve our American way of life.
Amen. Again, folks, thank you so much for joining us. Julie, thank you so much for coming down all the way from Medina County to be a part of our program. We want to thank also those other truth tellers who are on watching us tonight, HTX Radio. Thank you all so much, and others who are out there willing to fight the good fight. Folks, we hope that God willing to join us, if you would join us again, Taco Tuesday, 8 a.m. right here, Facebook Live, YouTube, and Rumble. Don't forget to download our podcast on Spotify, Amazon Music, and Podbean as well. And so I want to thank you so much for joining us, and God bless you, God bless America, and God bless Texas.
Thank you.